Hi everyone, welcome to Granada, where tomorrow I'll be joining the Badlands 2024 ultra cycling race.
So we are about 15-16k into the route. We are in the Sierra de Huetor, I think. Fantastic landscape. The part outside of Granada is brutally steep, and yeah, there's probably 5k till the end of the first climb.
The first day was 190 kilometers. I started at 8 a.m. In the morning in Granada and probably stopped at 3 a.m. It was an epic ride. I rode hard. The start was like full gas immediately because of a 20 kilometers climb.
Okay, so while you enjoy this fantastic landscape, really remote, this trail here, a little update on the race so far. Like I said, the road out of the first part, the first 4-5 Ks leaving Granada is like absolutely brutal, super steep. The road is narrow, there were 300 people. Then, as it always happens, you know, the huge group become thinner and thinner, and then you suddenly are there pedaling on your own. The area so far has been, wow, very remote, very beautiful, but very remote. A lot of tough climbs. I've been riding 4 hours, including stops. I'm looking forward to a fountain. I want to refill my bottles, and I'm really hungry. I mean, I surely had gels and bars, but I really need to eat something. Now a little bit of descent to rest. All good. I just had a break. I washed myself. I ate in that town down there, and I did roughly 62 kilometers, but there is a lot of climbs, so there was really a lot. And yeah, I ate something. Now I'm continuing. It's extremely hot. Now we cross the second ecosystem. It's called Granada Geopark before the Gorafe Desert. It's about 60-70 kilometers is what I will start now. So good, because the desert, then it will be in the evening maybe when it's cooler.
Everything seemed smooth and fine until reaching the ramp up to the Mirador, the fin del Mundo.
So I am here pushing the bike shamelessly but unavoidably up to this ramp that has to be at least 30% or more. I'm even struggling to push the bike uphill. I mean, at 6 a.m. with no bag I could do it. I mean, everybody I see behind was walking it. And yeah, there have been a series of super technical parts, including this, although it's descent. Landscape is great, but yeah, the first was an incredibly steep 1.5 to 2 Ks climb. I bet that was 30%. Had to walk it, and everybody I saw also walked it. And even then it was very hard to push the bike, so I don't know. Yeah, I've done a lot of super tough climbs, not on a ultra context, but yeah, that is like insanely steep, impossible to climb. Then there was an extremely rugged, oh wow, I'm into a town now, fantastic. An extremely rugged part where again you had to come down and push the bike, because like simply the trail was broken in 2 or 3 parts, the same direction you were going, so it was like kind of impossible to find your lane. I mean, and then this other part here with a lot of sand, which was kind of pain in the butt. This is the Ermita de San Torcuato. We are around 100 k's. I plan to do around 180 or something like that today, and then try to find something to sleep there. Nice location for an ermita, huge cross. The location is really remote. Took a long time getting to here. The building looks new. I'm in a hurry to reach Gorafe.
The way to Gorafe, which was a crucial point, not only because that's where I planned to have dinner, or anyway I planned to have a major refueling, but also I knew that after Gorafe there will basically be nothing, and there will be the 80 k's Gorafe Desert loop. I was like kind of nervous, particularly because I didn't really have much experience riding at night, and because I reached Gorafe much later than I thought I would. The prospect was for several hours of nighttime riding. Gorafe was reaching it, this place, there was not much food available, because like the riders who arrived earlier, the core of the peloton basically ate up almost everything, and so there was really no choice. I had to eat something I wasn't really too crazy about.
About an hour ago, maybe less, but anyway, I left Gorafe, the gate to the Gorafe Desert, and I'm now riding. It's 2100. It's sunset. It's great. It's really cool. Today it was a nightmare in terms of heat. Now I am a bit behind schedule of what I had thought I would be at this time, but I can try to make up for some of that road now. I had dinner, steak with potatoes. They didn't have anything in this small restaurant. Like everything had been already finished by those who arrived first, including water. There was no water, there was no Coke, there was no Fanta, only Sprite. Anyway, it's fine. I had my dinner. I had even an ice cream, the type my daughter would love. But yeah, I had it tonight, and yeah, I want to share this beautiful place. It's one of the most iconic, the Gorafe. In the last year, 2023, this section was removed because of rain. So I hope it's not luck in disguise. But yeah, I mean, like I said, the weather is really cool. Let's see, the bike, good. I need to clean the chain a bit and the transmission. I have some wet wipes for bicycle. They are from the Soudal Quick Step team. I mean, they are good. Tomorrow I'll spend some time to clean and apply some extra chain lube. I don't have much, but it should be fine. I'm not happy with the bag I have, Apidura saddle bag. I will explain more later, but it's been bouncing and making noise. It's a pain in the butt. I really think the tail fin, I forgot the name of the model, but the one that kind of is attached to the seat stay is way better for different reasons. And yeah, then let's see, hydration was fine today, so when I arrived to Gorafe I had 0 liquid left. And yeah, now this part is a bit technical, as you can see. Somebody dropped a bottle, and wow, it's beautiful. And yeah, I mean, of course there were ups and downs mentally, but now I'm feeling good. I have a helmet mount Phoenix light system ready on my helmet to kick on when once the sun sets, which probably is going to happen in the next 20 minutes. And yeah, I'll need to reduce my speed once it's dark, obviously. And yeah, all right, I'm gonna close the cam to focus a bit here. All right. Very technical descent, for crying out loud. Huh? You walk it or?
Yeah. When I finally reached the place where I decided to stop, was like a B&B, a super small one that wouldn't show up in any booking platform, contacted in Gorafe to confirm they had space, and they had, and like I was stressed because I knew I would reach this place very late, and I had no idea whether the guy would still be there or like there will be nothing and I will need to be in the middle of nowhere pretty much. And yeah, when I finally reached the place at 3 a.m, the guy was still there, maybe a bit pissed, but he was there, and it was nice. I was able to call it a day. We went to sleep, if we can talk about sleep, thinking that maybe the following day I would just ride until Gor, which was, I think, 40 or something kilometers from where I was, and then maybe rest for the day. Eventually I didn't do that, and I was glad I didn't, but like that's the thought I had in my mind when around 4 a.m. I was able maybe to close my eyes after washing my beeps and everything.
I slept very little, but I'm good. And yeah, I had breakfast, a huge breakfast, and I'm in the desert. See how beautiful. And yeah, I cleaned the bicycle and prepared everything.
Day number 2, started with a big breakfast in the B&B where I stopped. The host was really kind. Had a long chat. I needed it. I needed the breakfast especially, but I realize now how much time I wasted in general. I didn't really have a ultra mindset of like optimizing the time consumption. An error I will definitely not do the next time I'm riding an ultra. But yeah, I mean, and then final part of the Gorafe Desert until I reach Gor.
We are in the last part of the desert of Gorafe. Like, it's impossible to be great at every part of the triathlon. Yeah. You will always have a strong discipline, an intermediate one, and an awful one.
Gor was amazing. I decided to basically stop from 1500 to 1800 to avoid the hottest hours of the day, and so I basically spent 3 hours. It is true I recovered and I only slept 3 hours the night before, if we can talk about sleep, and so I really needed that recovery. I ate, you know, I washed, I cleaned everything, I went to the mini market and everything, but I lost 3 hours, and so The logic seemed obvious at the time, just don't ride in the hottest moment of the day, ride more when it's cooler, but I also lost more hours. Then I did the feared climb up to the Calar Alto. That was supposed to be the highest point for the altitude, the place 2,160 or 70 meters above sea level, I think. But the main difficult aspect of this climb to Calar Alto was the fact that there would be no resupply at all. But then, like, I did it with, I was in pretty high spirit when I left Gore. I had eaten plenty, I have refueled and cooled down very well. I was feeling good. The few first climbs after leaving Gore, I did it with very good legs, which was like a nice surprise after the level of difficulty involved on the first day. And I was happy, I had my strategy. I knew what I would do. I would ride until Calar Alto and sleep there no matter, I had my bivvy for a reason. I didn't use it the night before. I was gonna use it, no problem. The climb was fine, and I was very happy to find out that it was fine, because I have met multiple riders before that they kind of describe this climb to Calar Alto, from Gore to Calar Alto, as like the most difficult part of Badlands. The only thing is that it was long, and so because I was already very tired from the day before, I wasn't able to really go fast. I bivvied without problem. I had a minimalistic bivvy, just basically an emergency blanket with an air mat, no sleeping bag, nothing. I slept, with the down jacket on, and of course I was wearing, the cycling kit I had the day before, and I wasn't cold at all, but I was like so sweaty because of the humidity, and like I didn't really sleep. If I slept bad on the night before when I was in that B&B in the Gorafe Desert, I slept even worse now. Entering and exiting sleeping cycles of like maybe 20 minutes each only, and then, waking up every 20 minutes basically, and yeah. But I got some rest, and I was able, the following day I had there's something in Italy called pocket coffee. It's a kind of a small packaged chocolate with coffee inside, and I had one in the morning because I need my caffeine when I start, and like I had an emergency food bag with like oats and chocolate, and I just had to hydrate it with some water, which I had to spare because I didn't really get dehydrated during the climb up to Calar Alto, having done it in the night. And so I had this breakfast, I had my small coffee, and like I rested relatively well, packed my thing, and I was able to do the descent. So, camped outside, arrived 4 a.m, super tired, at Calar Alto, which is a peak. Parked in this wide area that hosts space telescope, and the idea to camp here despite the height is because after this there is a 30k descent, 3 hours sleep the night before. Now take a look at the telescopes over there. We are at 304 kilometers. Accumulated elevation is 6,411 meters, more than 1/3 of the whole Badlands. And yesterday I had uninterrupted, except minus stops to eat and drink along the way, but not a long stop. 9 hours stage from Gore to here, crossing the Sierra de Baza. The idea for today is doing a relatively light stage and crashing a hotel early. The stars last night were incredible. I never in my life saw a
star-dotted sky as yesterday. And from here, 30k fast, maybe cold descent. We are in Velefique, descended 1,200 meters with a really long, fast descent. Starting. Yes, this is the sign of the Badlands.
So when I reached Velefique, and in fact when I reached Calar Alto on the day before, I was kind of happy, very happy, because I thought this is the highest point of Badlands. From here we are basically going down to the sea, to sea level, to zero, from 2,000, almost 200 meters. And so I did naively the mistake. I mean, I knew it would not be straight downhill up to the sea, because there was like quite the distance still, but like I thought it's gonna be easy. Then, you know, then the part on the coast, the Cabo de Gata, was also gonna be relatively easy, because it's like on the coast there is everything. And so I thought probably the worst part of Badlands is already behind me. But then immediately after reaching Velefique, there were already some off-road climbs. It was much more demanding again than I thought it would be. And then the estimation I had in my mind of how long it will take me to do a certain distance will change, because I realized how long it will take. Suddenly there were, you know, sections which were too steep and with a broken trail that would make impossible to pedal. And so I basically had to push the bike, and all these things slow you down a lot.
I'm here in the shadow, taking a rest. Third day, Tuesday, just left Ulleila del Campo, had lunch and some non-alcoholic beer. From Velefique to Ulleila del Campo, there is a long section, kind of almost 30 kilometers. The first part, and the first, say, 15-20 kilometers are very beautiful. There is an initial climb out of Velefique that is a bit steep. But then it's nice, it's very nice. But then in the second part, before reaching Ulleila del Campo, it's really technical. The terrain is kind of mountain bike terrain, heading towards Venta del Pobre after 2 nights with 3 hours sleep, shower and a good rest. And then tomorrow planning a big push. ¿Cómo vamos?
Uno para abajo y otro para arriba.
I knew that on that day I would pass through a town, or maybe not even a town, through a village called Venta del Pobre, and I had bookmarked it in the research I had done. I had done a lot of research before Badlands, because like it was basically a major highway stop, and there was a fuel station, there was a mini market, there was a bar restaurant, and there was a hotel with 24/7 check-in. And so I thought, fantastic. I mean, I'm sure that if I need, I will be able to use this place, and it was big in my bookmark list, and so I knew Venta del Pobre would be a strategic place. After a miserable sleep on the first night and being at the Calar Alto the second night, I really wanted a good hotel sleep on the third night. Again, I did a lot of things that at the time looked fine, but later on, after the end of Badlands, I realized how much time I wasted. Next time, if I'm going to an ultra, I'm not doing any such things. I'm gonna minimize the time wasted, because then I wash the bike. Just, you want to have a very good transmission, and you don't want to have any kind of sand and kind of a grime that is slowing you down, but at the same time you don't want to necessarily do something like washing the bike. But that's what I did at the time, because there was like a water hose available. And then I talked a lot with the girl at the reception. Again, I wasn't chit-chatting, but I was asking information about the next towns coming up. I knew that maybe on the day after, the fourth day, I would be able to reach Nijar, and so I thought, let's collect some intelligence here. And then I went to the restaurant, had a burger, had 2 glasses of gazpacho.
Woke up at 4 a.m, left half an hour later from Venta del Pobre, a highway hotel. After that, some fast rolling gravel trails until there is a very steep climb, 5 kilometers, that brings you up to the top of the hills that belong to the Parque Natural de Cabo de Gata. Once you make it to the top, you reach the coast. You see the coast, you see the sea, is beautiful. It's sunrise now, it's amazing, it's very cool. The place here and before along the earlier miles today, extremely humid. Much better doing it now than in the hottest moments of the day. Yeah, as you can see, this is a rare moment of asphalt, but otherwise it's been gravel for the largest majority of Badlands. Now we are supposed within 5k to reach a playa, a beach. It's gonna be nice to be at sea level. Hi. While I put back, I just changed the GoPro battery. While I put everything back and get ready to start, a quick update. We are on the Via Verde in a section that goes towards Agua, Amarga, where I plan to have breakfast because I'm starving. I haven't had a proper breakfast and I've been riding since 5 basically. This section is amazing, it's really beautiful. I would recommend this together with the area after Lucainena yesterday, called Via Verde. Reaching Agua Amarga.
I knew it would be a tough day, and that was the point of like cutting it short on day 3 and trying to recover some energy.
This noise you are hearing, I think it's the front wheel that is out of true. There must be some loose spokes. I will see if I can fix something, tightening any loose spoke later on. It's not too hot, but in this present moment I can't really go that fast. Just had breakfast, a really replenishing breakfast, but yeah, I can't feel much kick in my legs now. Called El Cortijo del Fraile. Started the ride at 5 a.m. this morning from Venta del Pobre. Huge climb before entering in the Cabo de Gata. Cabo de Gata is fantastic. Now the designated stop for the day is Nijar, which is at the base of a huge climb that yeah, I need to have a rest before doing, so that we go for early tomorrow.
After the Playa de Monsul, it was the climb up to the Torre de la Vela Blanca, totally off-road, but it was like compact gravel. And it was beautiful because like on the right side you had the mountain, and on the other side you had the cliff with the blue ocean of the Mediterranean Sea. It was fantastic. I had good legs on that day, so there was really no problem doing the climb up to the Torre de la Vela Blanca.
Still here, crossing the sand, a dune basically, a very long one. If I liked cycling on the sand, I would have bought a fat bike. Click across this. I'm gonna take off my shoes. Nope. Going in. Is to my knees. heavy as f***. Come on, I can make every step. Well, I'm sinking inside. I'm fucking exhausted. By lifting the bike, just to give you an idea, that's another rider. See? Now I need to stop, dry my feet, put back my shoes, and keep going.
I reached Nijar around, can't remember if it was 1900 or 2000, but I was pretty hungry. I knew I wouldn't be resting for long because I wanted to leave earlier on the following day. I slept no more than 3 hours, maybe 2.5, I can't remember. I put my alarm clock at 1:30. Nijar was already on the climb, which would be the hardest climb in the whole Badlands. It was like a beast of like 20 k's in length with like an accumulated elevation of over 1,000 meters, and so started slowly trying to find a sustainable pace relatively. Eventually I reached the top. I didn't really suffer anything extreme mentally or physically, but it was definitely tough. I knew it would be a freezing descent. Priority was having breakfast. No real option to have anything until reaching Tabernas. There was already a Rambla before reaching Tabernas, but when I did, I was like happy to see that Tabernas had everything.
Desierto de Tabernas. Very sandy. You need to be careful controlling the bike that you don't force it in the wrong direction with this sand. It's 8 a.m. Soon it will be very hot here. 60 k's to go to the next station, to the next town, Albolodui, I think is the name. I woke up 1:30, left at 2:30, did a massive 23 kilometers climb with a total accumulated elevation of 1,200 meters. It was a very nice climb, I liked it. Somebody said it was the most difficult of the race. The only thing is that it was above the clouds, very nice, though it was dark, you could see them, and insanely cold, the descent. The terrain is mostly clay and sand and very fine gravel. It's impossible to come here if it rains. I stopped to drink some water. It's really fast, at least this Rambla, and yeah, some sand, but nothing, no problem at all, really fast.
This Tabernas Desert is definitely one of the parts of the whole Badlands route, together with the Cabo de Gata and of course the Gorafe Desert also, where I will be very happy to go back, but not in the context of a competition, just on my own. The Ramblas were not necessarily difficult until it got very hot. There was a good flow. One Rambla was steeper than the other, but not as steep as I was initially fearing. One thing that has kind of negatively affected my whole Badlands experience, a mechanical problem, not a small one, to my braking system. Like, I started having some kind of signs on the day before where I was in Cabo de Gata. I thought that it would be the wheel that is out of true. In the Tabernas, it became clear that my brakes had a major problem. Like, the front brake was like braking less than I was hoping. The rotor and the pads, of course, the pads were totally worn. I didn't really want to stop and investigate too much because I was in the middle of the desert. It was really hot. There was really no shade available for me to kind of do some mechanical work around the bike. So I decided, let's go on.
So just finished, I guess like 4/5 of the Ramblas of the Tabernas Desert. Now approaching Al Volo Dui. The last Rambla, Rambla del Campiglio. Very technical in my view because of the really deep sand and slight downhill. I had to put my foot on the ground several times. I've been riding for almost over 11 hours across the desert. We're starving.
Was the first place where I could find pasta in Badlands. Took a rest, waiting for the hottest moment of the day to pass. Pretty much what I had done in Gore. Took a quick nap, but really I didn't really sleep. I was just kind of laying down, probably no more than 20 minutes. I decided to leave. It was still brutally hot, but whatever. I just wanted to go and kind of complete the last part of the Tabernas Desert, basically. Then I reached a town called Ragol. In a sense, it was a very good news because it was already in the last part of the Badlands route, the Alpujarra. At the same time, I remember vividly how the organizer had explained how the Alpujarra was the most difficult of all the Badlands parts. I probably experienced the toughest moment mentally of the whole Badlands journey, and I was like exhausted. I woke up at 1:30 and like by the time I left Ragol, it was probably, I don't know, 2000 or something like that. I was in like a chronic caloric deficit. I had this plan that I would just bivvy wherever I am on the side of the street for a few hours, for a couple of hours. Once I finally reached a town called Fondón, it was already 2200. I was obviously starving, and I felt I couldn't really go any longer. So everything was closed except a restaurant down in a camping site. Once again, rested for maybe 2.5, maximum 3 hours, no more, because I had once again an alarm clock at 1:30 a.m. And it was absolutely vital if I wanted to reach Capileira by 1600 on the following day. Tomorrow, no matter what, will be the last day. That's what I thought. I don't have any footage of the last day because I was like only focusing the entire time on going as fast as I could. Woke up in a bad mood, we could say, very weak, no coffee once again, but I had an energy drink. Crossed a few towns in the no traffic, dark, cool but not cold, until we reached Darrical, downhill to the base of this valley where there was a river, and that's where the final monster, the climb up to Murtas. I had already been warned by some local Spanish riders I had met before that this would be like after, in the second part of the Badlands, at least after the Collado Colativi, the toughest one. I did this climb on like next to zero energy levels. I mean, I had some from the energy drinks I had and from like the dinner I was still digesting from the night before, but like at a muscular level I was like having butter legs, really. Doable at the beginning, though steep. I decided I would not want to do fast. At some point I lost cell phone signal and also GPS signal on my Garmin, and so I had a very difficult difficult time keeping on the right route. The right sleeve of my down jacket, which I had wrapped in the saddlebag, got stuck on the rear brake, and so I had to cut it loose with my pocket knife, together with like the part after Ragol on the day before. This was like the second hardest moment mentally, or maybe even the hardest. Eventually I reached Murtas at the top of this climb, and I thought this was really the worst thing I've ever done as a cyclist. It was the worst thing I have climbed, the worst possible place in the worst possible situation. Up to Murtas, up to the town of Murtas, pitch dark. I was in the middle of a forest with no signal, so it was kind of the worst possible situation. But eventually I reached Murtas. There was a water fountain. I cooled down. I remember meeting a German rider who said that was a fantastic climb, and I really thought him and I probably didn't do the same route. I mean, I really think it was horrible. I mean, yeah. But then I checked the live map on the mapping platform available, and I noticed that the expected time of arrival was actually pretty good. I will be able to arrive with hours to spare, so I kind of got really in a good mood at that point, particularly because I knew there would be no more super tough beasts as the one I just completed. And at some point I got chased by a couple of dogs. They started chasing me, and I was kind of swearing at them, and eventually I just kind of left them behind. The only good point was that most of the road at this point was paved. Not all of it, obviously, but like most of it was, so a lot of tarmac. In this last day, there was, in all its evidence, one major problem: the almost complete failure of my braking system, at least complete failure for the front part. And I was relying heavily on the rear one, but like that's in itself was like not enough, particularly because it was quite worn too. So the bottom line was I could not really go fast in the descents because I was not having a reliable brake. I lost a lot of time. Eventually I reached Trevellet, which was like the last town before Capileira. At that point I knew I would make it in time, so I was super happy. On this steep concrete ramp with no shades, my front tire blew up. I had tubeless tires. I don't really know why they blew up, but like it just exploded with like sealant everywhere. And yeah, I mean, I had to stop. I tried to remain calm, and indeed I remained calm. I could fix it, you know, in fact, very few minutes. And then I was on my way again, but at the time I thought, why now? But anyway, problem was fixed, and then I did it. I was at the end, and so I mean I couldn't believe it, but 100 meter after 100 meter, kilometer after kilometer, I was like closer and closer to Capileira. So that's when I started to realize now nothing can stop me, and like I will finish Badlands and I will have my medal. The risky pass, which scares many normally, it was easy peasy. I mean, after doing all the things I did, and I mean, this was like almost nothing, a walk in the park.
I completed Badlands 2024, and these are my impressions. The challenge was tougher, way tougher than I thought, and talking to other participants, it is a shared opinion. The course was really technical. My initial forecast on the time that it will take me to complete collapsed after the first day when I realized that the trail was like way slower than I anticipated. That means I am overly happy. I am incredibly proud of having completed it, but at the same time I can totally understand, and I certainly respect those who took the brave and unavoidable decision to call it off and to withdraw. I think like being my first ultra cycling, for me the worst part has been sleep deprivation. So not being able to sleep more
than 3 hours a night in the best of the cases, and riding for like 19 hours or so every day. That was probably okay, but like the not being able to sleep much or at all, it was the most difficult part. I had no problems physically speaking. My legs muscles were all fine, never had a cramp. Obviously my ass was in pain. I think like it's unavoidable in a competition of this type and with such a long course. My feet were fine, knees were fine. The only thing that caused me some I guess difficulties in the last day and today, which is like already 2 days past the challenge, are my hands. I basically lost a lot of sensibility in my left hand, in these 3 fingers particularly, and a bit less, but still some on the right hand, but mostly on my left hand. And was reading a bit, and it looks like it's something related to the obviously compression of some of the nerves you have on your wrist. It does not seem to be a excessively serious condition, but it's something that it has improved since the first night after the finish. That was the worst, but I'm still with very little sensitivity in the upper part of these 3 fingers. Keep in mind, I have a front suspension. So even despite that, despite I have a 3mm bar tape and I keep changing position on the handlebar to precisely to avoid this problem, I still had this. So I let you decide on the implications of not using some sort of front suspension. Many riders were complaining about the excessive heat on the course. Last year, 2023, the weather wasn't as hot as this year. In the deserts, Gorafe and Tabernas, the thermometer in daytime reached 45 with no problem. Keep in mind, perhaps on the same day. At night, the temperatures were in some nearby mountain passes reaching 5 degrees or something. So a huge temperature change. How I feel having completed Badlands, it was a fantastic experience. It's the toughest thing I've ever done in my life. Obviously there was a physical impact of doing such a thing, and like it took me weeks to recover, and but there was also like a gigantic mental effort required during the event, and like the satisfaction of being able to withstand the mental pressure during the event was like incredible. The best part for me was like meeting the people. It was an experience that really bonds together. It's like building friendship with people and like meeting people who come from the most diverse backgrounds and experiences, and like they share a lot with you in like the level of like difficulties you go through physically and mentally, and of course logistically. A lot of things can go wrong. There is and there should be no shame in deciding to scratch and call it off, because you just might be in a situation where it's really not a good idea to go on, and like I will definitely always respect such a choice, and I know that the moment can come for everyone. Would I do Badlands again? No, but not because I didn't have a wonderful experience, just because I don't want the quality of my memories and like the experience I did to kind of be diminished by doing it again. So I would rather do other similar events elsewhere and experience new adventures rather than repeating the same. What is the biggest thing that Badlands taught me about myself or about things in general is that first of all, we are much tougher and stronger if we want than we think we are. And so there is a large social component in like how inadequate we feel nowadays about our physical and mental capabilities. And so it was really really rewarding and nice to be able to see what I could accomplish.